got mail. This should hopefully, fingers crossed, be the last Rock Auto parts order that I need. Let's see what we got. More assembly lube for like $3 a bottle. On Amazon it's 15, so that's amazing. Some gel thread locker, some red thread locker, magnetic pickup tool, a injector seal kit, that'll be good. More magnets. They've been sending a lot of duplicates in the same box, but I haven't had these before, so that's cool. We'll put them on the fridge. And the last of the injectors, the lifters. So that makes all the parts that we need. Today we'll be checking the main bearing oil clearances. First thing we're going to do is take out the old bearings. Now we're going to wipe all these clean. I've already blown out all the oil passages. Okay. Now we can install the new bearings. So you can see these are 1/4 millimeter undersize for the upper journals. And that's what this is because the engine's upside down right now. On Molly and Clavette bearings, these other numbers mean when it was manufactured. First month of 2011. Undersize, where it is, and then the part number. Whenever you install bearings like this, there's a little notch that lines up on the one side. They only go in one direction, so you want to line that up. And they should almost snap into place and be perfectly flush with the top. Next we're going to take all the old bearings out of the lower base plate. Give them a wipe down too. Same thing on these guys. This guy has 2 part numbers, so it has them both there, this or this. Undersize or standard, manufacture date, and position. You see how the notch is on this side? Find the notch on your bearing, line it up with that, make it square and flush with the top, and then roll it in from the other side and make sure it's square and flush on the very top there. So now that they're all in there, we're going to put this off to the side. Get our crankshaft out. And wipe down the journal surfaces so that the thickness of the oil film doesn't affect our measurements. Now we carefully grab it, make sure it's lined up, and very carefully lower it in. So Plastigauge is a clearance indicator. Doesn't replace a micrometer, but it can give you a final check before final assembly. So the actual gauge is inside this paper, and it's a little filament. It's this little green filament of plastic. So we're going to take that out. We're going to save this because this is how we're going to measure it. Put that to the side. We're going to lay this perpendicular across the face of the bearing there. And we'll repeat that on the rest of the crank journals. that we have all those carefully placed on there, we will put the base plate on, being very careful to line everything up and not to rotate the crankshaft. Very nice. Now that we've got that all on, we got to torque this all down to spec. On the 6.0s, you have two lengths of main bolts, short one and a long one. The long one goes on the inner side, short one goes on the outer side. So we'll put all them in. Never skip forearm day at the gym. Looking through my paperwork here. Main bearing, 90 foot-pounds, then 120, and 170. In a star pattern. So this will take a while. These bolts are reusable. They're not like the head studs. They're not torque to yield. So I guess we start tightening. First to 90 foot-pounds. Then to 120. And do 170. And now that we've worked so hard to torque them all up, we gotta undo them. So you can see our little strip of Plastigauge flattened out there. On the paper carrier, there's two sides to it. One's in mils, one's in inches. It's the same divisions on both sides, it's just different measurements. And you measure this by the width of this. The more it squishes out, the less clearance there is. So spec on this is, I think, let me just pull it up here, 1.8 thousandths to 4.6 thousandths. So that's basically the range of this checker. So we will measure this here. So it's definitely skinnier than 1,000th, skinnier than 15. Looks pretty close to 2, maybe a bit skinnier, but definitely bigger than 3. So it's right on the money. You can also check it on the bearing itself. It leaves the same impression. You can clean this off with any real kind of solvent I found, or just scratch it off, and then make sure you re-oil whatever it is so that it doesn't rust. Next on the list is to clean and inspect the lifter bores, and we'll reinstall the piston oilers. Now we're going to install our piston cooling jets. These spray oil up into the back of the piston to help cool them and lubricate them. You want to clean the oil passage down in there, and you want to apply some red Loctite.